So one of the commonly asked questions on the concept of elasticity is whether or not it was worthwhile to increase prices or reduce prices, or what impact that would have on total revenue. So the normal rule is that if elasticity is below 1, so between 0 and -1, that the good is considered inelastic, and that if you increase your prices, you will lose custom, but you will still increase total revenue overall. So the example we have here in front of us, we can just even make that, just say that he sold 300 under the new price of €6.50, and he sold 400 units over the old price. So I'm calculating the revenues down here. So at a price of €4.50, let's just assume it was lunches in a school canteen, he sold 400 lunches in the day. So he made €1,800 in revenue. He reckons, he doesn't know this, but he reckons that the price elasticity of demand will be below 1. So he decides to charge €6.50 for a dinner, see what happens. It turns out that he sells 300 dinners that day. Less dinners, meaning that dinners are a normal good, the price goes up, the quantity demanded goes down. But it didn't go down by far enough to result in a loss in revenue. Under the new pricing structure of €6.50, he sells 300 dinners. That's €1,950 of total revenue, and an increase in revenue there of €150. Let's just assume that the response then was much more elastic. We'll take it away above 1. So at a price of €4.50, he still sells 400 dinners. We're just going to assume here that he sells 180 dinners now as a result of going up to €6.50. So the elasticity of demand is now much greater than 1. It's of course -1, but we'll just talk about it in absolute terms. So it's much greater than 1. So he earned the €1,800 under the €4.50 pricing structure, but he goes down to €1,170, meaning that his total change in total revenue is now down by €630. Okay, so by just looking at various price output or price quantity demanded combinations here, we can see that the further above 1, let's just say that was 80 dinners he sold at 6, you'd see the elasticity is now minus 3.67, and a result here in total revenue of a loss of €1,280 on the previous pricing structure. Again, if you just notice what's happening to the demand curve, it's quite elastic, quite flat. And just to remind ourselves to go back up again, let's just imagine if it was 390 dinners. That would be extremely inelastic, highly unlikely of course. But let's just see what happens. And you can see now that the demand curve is practically vertical. It's almost completely inelastic. There has been a tiny reduction in quantity demanded as a result of a fairly substantial change in pricing. And if we play it out here in total revenue terms, he has increased his daily total revenue by €735, notwithstanding the fact that he did lose a few customers. But the good is very, very inelastic. So that's very, very close to 0. So if the good is inelastic, then you're wise to increase your prices. You will increase total revenue overall, notwithstanding the fact that you will lose some business, but it's total revenue you're mainly concerned with. If elasticity is above 1 and you want to increase total revenue, you should reduce your prices. By doing that, you will gain much, much more business and therefore increase total revenue.